गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन। आज सुबह से ना मेरे फोन पे मैसेज आई जा रहे हैं, हैप्पी वुमेन्स डे, हैप्पी वुमेन्स डे। वुमेन्स की ये क्वालिटीज हैं, वुमेन्स की वो क्वालिटीज हैं। पर मैंने सोचा कि मैं इस बार डिमांड ही कर लेती हूँ कुछ। जब मुझे इतना सारा है, मैं इतनी अच्छी हूँ, तो मैं वुमेन्स की तरफ से आपके डिमांड रखती हूँ कि जितना भी स्टाफ वेलफेयर फंड में पैसा है ना, उसका एक टूर अरेंज किया जाए जिसमें सिर्फ वुमेन होंगी। सपोर्ट करते हो कि नहीं? चले? ठीक है, सारे रेडी है ना? ऑल वुमेन। एक और डिमांड है सर, इसके साथ सही छोड़ेंगे। 5-5 हजार हमें शॉपिंग के लिए भी चाहिए। नहीं देंगे? कोई बात नहीं, हम एडजस्ट करने में भी बहुत स्मूथ है, हम एडजस्ट कर लेंगे। हम कल टूर पे चले जाएंगे, ठीक है ना? राइट। तो आज का दिन बहुत ही हमारे लिए स्पेशल है एज अ वुमेन। वुमेन डेज को सेलिब्रेट करने की जरूरत तो नहीं होनी चाहिए थी। आप बिलीव करते हो कि नहीं? जब हम इक्वल हैं, 3.9 बिलियन जो है मेल है, 3.9 बिलियन फीमेल है, तो फीमेल वुमेन डे सेलिब्रेट करने की जरूरत ही क्या है हमें? क्यों हमें भगवान ने इक्वल नहीं बनाया? यहाँ क्यों हम वहां पे रुक गए जहां पे हमें लगा कि मैन आर मोर मस्कुलर देन वुमेन? जब हम इस लाइफ को आगे लेके जाते हैं, हमें भगवान ने ये पावर दी है कि हम इस अर्थ को इसमें लाइफ को सस्टेन कर रहे हैं, ह्यूमन बीइंग को सस्टेन कर रहे हैं, तो हम कहाँ रुक गए? यस, हम रुक गए कहीं पे, और हम उसको आगे ले जा रहे हैं अपनी एफर्ट्स के साथ, और पूरा वर्ल्ड हमारे साथ है कि हम इसको और आगे ले जा पाए। हम रुके ना कहीं पे भी। मैंने बायोकेमिस्ट्री पीएयू से की है। तो 50 साल पहले क्या था कि सारे मेल होते थे बायोकेमिस्ट्री में, कोई फीमेल नहीं होती थी। वो पिछली बार हमने गोल्डन और सिल्वर इकट्ठी सेलिब्रेट की, एलुमनाई मीट। तो 25 साल बाद क्या हुआ, सारी फीमेल से कोई मेल नहीं था उस डिपार्टमेंट में। तो वो चेंज तो 25 साल पहले आ चुका है ना, एजुकेशन वाला। तो अब हमें कहाँ जाना है कि हमें फैमिली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के साथ साथ हमें आगे और आना है, ताकि हम जॉब्स में भी इक्वली बेटर हो सकें। इंडिया में ये चेंज आ चुकी है कि आपको एजुकेशन प्रॉपर प्रोवाइड होती है, स्पेशली फॉर द 5% क्रीम जो कि आप यहाँ पे बैठी है। 95% अभी भी बहुत पीछे हैं, पर आप 5% में आगे हो ना। अब हमने कोशिश करनी है कि उन 95 को एटलीस्ट 2% को 1 साल में ले आगे, उनकी हेल्प करनी है जो पीछे रह जाते हैं बिकॉज ऑफ द सोशल इश्यूज, है ना? सोसाइटी एक बहुत बड़ा डिटर्मिनेंट है जो हमें पीछे खींचती रहती है, क्योंकि उन्होंने देखा, उनकी गलती नहीं है, उन्होंने जो देखा वो करते हैं, और हमने जो नहीं देखा वो हम नहीं करते। तो इस चेंज को तो हमें ही लेके आना है ना, और तो कोई नहीं कर सकता चेंज। मेल क्यों देगा आपको डोमिनेंस? वो तो आपको खुद लेके आनी है आगे, क्योंकि आप इतने सालों से पीछे रहे हो। So with these few motivational words, if I could motivate even a single female, I will like to invite Dr. Ashwini Parekh for a brief introduction. Before that, I will like to invite our dignitaries on the stage, please. So I will request our Honorable Director, Executive Director and COCF, Dr. Ashwini Parekh, to briefly give his presentation about the introduction about the why we are celebrating International Women's Day, plus also introduce our chief guest. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I saw a different Monica today, this afternoon. I'm very happy to see this transformation. I want all of you to be bubbling with joy and happiness. That's what my purpose over here. as your caretaker, as CEO or ED, whatever you call it. Thank you very much, Monica, for sitting at the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ashwani Parekh from NABI NCR, welcoming you all on this wonderful day of International Women's Day. This is a good celebration, good time to realize and understand and appreciate the contribution of our better half. And I'm sure my better half is also looking at me. She's online. So thanks to you, Sneh. We call them better half. And there is a reason for that, because, men, as I understand as myself, as an individual, please don't take it my official statement, we are a little bit lagging behind the better half, because I strongly believe that practice makes a man perfect, and women need not be made perfect. They're already perfect. And I realize this in my own family when I have my two daughters, wonderful daughters, very loving daughters, very intelligent, very true human being, very kind human being. My own wife, who's not only better half in my relation, but she's a better scientist as well. And then she was addressing the media. My sister called me just now, 2 days ago. Your wife speaks better than you, so you better gear up. I said, okay, I learned this. So that's the kind. And third thing, my own mother, who is 89 years old, staying with me at my own house. She's full of joy, happiness, positivity, and whatnot. And that's the reason I personally bow in front of all the women in my life and my all friends at NABI NCR. Friends, today we are celebrating International Women's Day. And as I said, it's International Women's Day. And we have been celebrating International Women's Day since 1911. Because we realize that this is high time. We should not only allow females to come forward, but support them as well with our efforts, with our duties, with our pleasure. And that this day reminds us that, yes, you need to understand the importance of female in running the house, in running the offices, and running the whatever you call it. And this is the research organization, National Agri-Food Biotechnology Institute, Center for Innovative and Applied Biosystems. Bioprocessing. I, as Ashwani Parekh, CEO and ED, and confirm that yes, we have no parity as far as the male and females are concerned. We are fully committed to supporting all the women scientists, women staff, women students on these two campuses. And to celebrate this day, we have a very distinguished guest today. I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Jitendra Kaur Arora, with us, who's among us at the moment sitting at the dais. And I'm also very pleased to introduce Dr. Vibha Ahuja today, which has been a serendipitous discovery today. Thank you very much, madam, for joining. And this was just, she was here in the morning for some other reason. And when I spoke to her, madam, we would like to hear your wisdom word for 10 minutes. She kindly agreed for that. Thank you very much, madam, for agreeing to address at such a short notice. Before I introduce my guest of honor today and guest today, I just thought, since we are Agri-Food Biotechnology Institute, plant-based institute, we need to understand the contribution of female scientists in this area. And just to highlight that, of course, there are many scientists who have contributed to plant and agriculture scientists. I have a short video, which I just picked up from a book which is yet to be released, The Forgotten History of Science in India. And I would like to show this short video clip before I introduce the speaker. And the name of this distinguished scientist is Dr. Just pause kar dijiye ek minute, let me just, and she is Dr. Shipra Guha Mukherjee. Many of you have remembered her as GM, along with Professor Satish C. Maheshwari, who was the Department of Botany. Professor Mukherjee has worked at Jawaharlal Nehru University School of Life Sciences. In fact, she was one of the person who interviewed me for my position at JNU as assistant professor, and I was closely associated in getting her guidance and support in setting up the lab when I joined JNU. Professor S.C. Maheshwari is son of a great Panchanan Maheshwari, who worked a lot internationally renowned scientists in embryology, and they discovered something very, very basic, which will be more clear from the presentation. So I would now request to turn on the presentation. It's a very short presentation. Please bear with me for the 5 minutes. Sound, please.
I decided to study botany because it was my favorite subject in school. I was awed by the contribution of Sir Jagdish Chandra Bose and fascinated by his work that showed that plants were living organisms and had a metabolism similar to that of animals. I developed a strong determination to find the locations of the heart and brain of plants and to understand the way they functioned.
I had once seen a lady, coming from the special university buses and coming down. She was wearing a long coat, very elegant. And I always thought what kind of a person she would be, because he would always say she was very dynamic, very enthusiastic. And I really wanted to meet her sometime, someday.
In the 1960s, before the advent of genetic engineering, Professor Shipra Guha Mukherjee was an embryologist at Delhi University. She worked in the unit established by Professor P. Maheshwari, the eminent botanist who pioneered the classification of plants and application of embryology in India.
I first met Shipra somewhere in early 70s. That time I was doing PhD in Delhi University. So Maheshwari was interested in cell division and cell cycle processes. He had asked her to use anther culture as a system to understand how the cell divisions occurs in the microspores.
Pollen grains, also called microspores, are the male sex cells of a plant found inside the anthers. And anthers are the male reproductive part of the plant. These cells go through a special kind of reproduction called meiosis, where each cell divides twice to produce 4 cells. She was trying to understand the biochemistry of meiosis, something that wasn't well known at the time. She was working on anther cultures in the datura plant, which is known for its large anthers. During one of her experiments, Professor Mukherjee accidentally discovered something that would change the way we produce lab-grown plants.
Plants have a very great trait. It's called totipotency. Any part of the plant is capable of regenerating into an entire plant. You take a cell, you take a part of a tissue, a root, and they will regenerate into an entire plant. This particular feature was first discovered in 1950s. Then came Dr. Shipra Guha Mukherjee's momentous discovery.
So they had cultured anther, and they were trying to study the effect of cytokinins. These are growth promoting hormones. They added coconut water, which is very rich in that, and they just left the cultures. After some time, Shipra Mukherjee, she noted that there were some protrusions coming out from that.
This was an excitement which she talked to Professor Maheshwari that what this could be, and they found that these were actually some kind of embryos which were emerging out of the anther.
She was going to throw away her cultures. She thought her experiment was over, and then accidentally she discovered a haploid organism can develop into an entire plant.
Some of the world's most important discoveries have been accidental. Everything from penicillin to X-rays and LSD to Viagra. Professor Mukherjee's accidental discovery paved the way to producing haploid plants, a plant that can grow just from pollen instead of the usual fertilization of eggs and sperms to form seeds.
It's something like saying from sperms one can make a human being. So it's that radical thought.
People had been trying since 1928 to develop haploids, not through agriculture, but haploid has a lot of usage in agriculture. But this turned out to be the most interesting, simple method, and you can get haploid in large numbers.
The implications of this discovery were huge. Haploid plants have one set of chromosomes and are capable of carrying a desired trait. These can be converted into diploids to reproduce the same desired trait in future plants.
So that is the main turning point, that it provided a very efficient tool for plant breeding by giving you a hold on to the trait that you want to.
Professor Mukherjee was interested in making a real impact with her science. So she turned her attention to rice, because over half the world's population eats rice daily. She was successful in using anther culture to produce haploid plants of rice.
India actually, after this discovery, there were not too many groups which came up. In fact, there were some groups which were even doubting whether these are really haploid in nature. And she later on went to Indian Agriculture Research Institute, worked also with Swaminathan, and demonstrated that not only in Datura inoxia, she showed it also in rice, that rice can also make the haploid plants.
Sorry to say, at that particular time, nothing was done that this particular discovery could actually be used for applied purposes in agriculture. Whereas the other countries like China, they went far ahead. So as far as rice was concerned, normally you have 2 seasons, but they could have 3 seasons. They could get high yielding varieties, they could get pest and disease resistant varieties. So all by using haploids.
For Professor Mukherjee, the challenges went beyond just the acceptance of her discovery. Most women in India at the time couldn't dream of a career in science.
I felt I was swimming against the tide. No woman scientist could rise above a certain level, and thus we felt mentally inferior to male scientists. Even in the US, the situation was not very different.
At that time, there were no women, literally no women who were faculties at the university. So she was one of them who fought for that and told Professor P. Maheshwari he should be, also giving chance to the women to accept such positions. And he blatantly said no, because, they will get married, they will get pregnant, and they will not come back.
She had to fight the world, which was dominated by male scientists, but she would not fear anybody. She just went past and she actually made her name. And she encouraged us all to go ahead and, pursue science as a career.
While doing her postdoc work in the US, she was invited to take up a faculty position at the newly established School of Life Sciences at the JNU. Professor Mukherjee would become the first woman faculty of Jawaharlal Nehru University.
Shipra Mukherjee was the pioneer in setting up the School of Life Sciences. She came from abroad. She had fantastic ideas, what kind of course curriculum should be there, tutorials and all kinds of things.
Big round of applause for such wonderful scientists at School of Life Sciences. And I'm sure this is not the only one case where we need to thank all our female colleagues, but there are hundreds and hundreds of examples in India and abroad. And thank you very much. And I bow in front of all my female colleagues for their contribution to science and society. Friends, we have a pleasure of inviting, an honor of inviting the first speaker of today. She is none other than Dr. Jiten Kaur Arora. The name is not unfamiliar to you. She has been visiting here, and I'm told she has been also part of conceptualization and inception of this idea of establishing this wonderful NABI and CIAP Institute at Mohali. Thank you very much, madam, for your all efforts, and we really respect your feeling for NABI and CIAP. Just to introduce her to the students who are joining here, I would like to say a few words. Dr. Arora is actually Executive Director of Punjab State Council for Science and Technology. She is also a member secretary, Punjab Biodiversity Board, Chief Executive Officer of Punjab Research and Innovation Council, as well as Director of the Punjab State Biotech Corporation. So she has many hats to her credit. She is recipient of several prestigious awards, to mention a few: National Award for the Women Development through Application of Science and Technology, instituted by the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, which conferred upon her by the President of India himself. The Government of Punjab has awarded her Punjab Sarkar Praman Patra, which is a very prestigious award for exemplary services in the field of science and technology. The Indian Television Academy has honored her with a Great Woman Award in Science and Technology category, and as a result of her efforts, the promotion of cleaner technology, UNDP and Government of Punjab has conferred Punjab State Council for Science and Technology with Sustainable Goal Development Action Award 2020, for which she has contributed a lot for the environmental sustainability. She's also a member of various prestigious task force for Government of India, and I have myself shared some of the platform with her in several meetings, and I have seen her good administrative and decision-making qualities in those committees. She's also a member of expert committee of State Council, state government. She guides the Government of Punjab on planning on all policy matters pertaining to science and technology and innovation. She is also steering the development of State Action Plan on Climate Change 2.0. With this brief introduction, may I now invite Dr. Arora for her thoughts and enlightenment on this. Please have a round of applause for her.
Will it be a good idea if I speak from here? Yeah, because I can see the screen right away. Yeah. So there's a small presentation if somebody can put that up.
Yeah. Could you please play the presentation?
How would you like? Do you have something I can have to control this?
Maybe we can have the lights off so that the screen can be visible.
Thank you, first of all, for having me here. As Dr. Parekh said, it's such a pleasure to see where NABI has reached. I remember when we thought of setting up state-of-the-art institutions here. बहुत चक्कर मारे प्लानिंग कमीशन के हमने और ये आइडिया था कि एक इंस्टीट्यूशनल क्लस्टर बनाए. एक्चुअली डॉक्टर पारेख आइडिया तो शुरू हुआ था कि सिर्फ एक सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस बायोटेक्नोलॉजी में बनाए. आई जस्ट गो डाउन द मेमोरी लेन और वो एक प्रपोजल डीबीटी को गया और डॉक्टर भान थे उस टाइम सेक्रेटरी डीबीटी. उन्होंने कहा चलो कहीं बाहर थोड़ा देखते हैं जाके. जैसे अभी डॉक्टर सिप्रा की बात बताई, उन्होंने कहा कि वो बाहर से आई थी, बहुत सारी अपने साथ नया एक्सपोजर लेके आई. डॉक्टर बहान ने कहा आप पंजाब में नया एक्सपेरिमेंट करने जा रहे हो, लेट्स गो एंड सी. वी आल्सो प्रपोज दैट लेट्स हैव अ बायोटेक्नोलॉजी पार्क. साइट ऑफ बायोटेक्नोलॉजी पार्क वाज समवेयर एल्स. He said, let's go and see elsewhere. We went, to Canada और वहाँ पे ये ऐसा cluster exist कर रहा था. There was a bioprocessing unit, which is now called Center of Innovative and Applied Bioprocessing here, which you are a CEO of. And एक वहाँ उनका institute था, Plant Biotechnology Institute, NRC Canada के अंदर आता है, and which is NABI. Which you're steering and और एक उनका innovation place है जो बायोटेक्नोलॉजी पार्क. वो proposal जो है थोड़ा derail हुआ and in times to come it will also come up in your vicinity. So very happy to see the way it has progressed. The auditorium is full. It's nostalgic coming here. So I thought of talking to you on the subject of climate change and कुछ और भी चुन सकते थे, women related कुछ aspect भी चुन सकते थे. But the idea was अभी उन्होंने करा ना, मोनिका ने करा ना blackmail अपने executive director को कि चलिए आज तो women's day है और एक टूर सैंक्शन कीजिए and so on. So एक ऐसी subtle सी मेरी भी manipulation है. मुझे लगा कि climate change का aspect है which is very close to my heart. तो सबके गले उतारा जाए. तो so that's मतलब प्यार से गले उतारा जाए because I really feel very close to this subject and I feel जहाँ जहाँ हम साइंस की बात करें, जहाँ जहाँ हम देखें कि people are there who are practicing science, उनको तो इसके साथ जुड़ना ही चाहिए. So what other day, better day could be than talking to my fellow females here, and it's a gender agnostic subject, so talking to everybody. I'm sure all of you, sitting in National Institute talk day in and day out of Sustainable Development Goals. जब ये बने Sustainable Development Goals तो बड़े मुझे भी पढ़ के ऐसे लगता था बड़े lofty words हैं. How Would anybody think of, they say no hunger, they say no poverty and so on. So लगता है कि बहुत बड़ी बातें हैं, तो क्या ऐसे हो सकता है इसका, पर आपने देखा ये मोनिका ने बनाया, वो वीट बनाया, और करेगा वो कंट्रीब्यूट, बहुत सी ऐसी इंटरवेंशंस हैं जो नो हंगर की तरफ एंड बेटर न्यूट्रिशन की तरफ जो लेके जाती हैं. And 13 SDG, I'm sure all of you know, it kind of shakes us, all of us up to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. I'm sure all of you know, United Nations framework है climate change पे, जिसके सारे most of the countries are signatory to that. और ये 2010 तक, उससे पहले ही एक कन्वेंशन हुई जिसमें COP15, COP बोलते हैं, that's the top body of this convention, which they kind of mull over this idea and come to how to actually take actions, how to operate at the policy level. ये 2010 की beginning में COP15 हुई, and there was no agreement. It was called a failure. सारे countries एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे नहीं आए कि क्या करें, सबकी क्या contribution होगी इस तरफ. Then they brought a woman, and brought a woman as the executive secretary, and you can see her here, a sketch of her. 6 years she worked day and night and put a strategy in place, and 2015 Paris Convention happened. And she brought the agreement. The countries signed Paris Accord, और एक पूरा framework बन गया, एक पूरा agreement हो गया that everybody, all the signatories, 165 countries at the time, would work towards the direction that जो global temperature increase है, वो towards by the end of the century 2 degree से नहीं बढ़ेगी, और कोशिश रहेगी कि 1.5 degree पे ही arrest करें. मगर ये situation 2021 की है. UNEP की report है, नाम ही है उसका, the heat is on. UNEP takes a stock of every now and then कि ये तो बात कर ली हमने 2015 में, उसके बाद पहुंच कहाँ रहे हैं, every year at frequent intervals कहाँ जा रहे हैं. 2021's report also says that if we keep going the way we are going, whereas we said we will, our effort would be let it not increase beyond 1.5 degree and at max 2 degree, but the way we are going, it will surely go beyond 2.7 degrees. और ये बिल्कुल फ्रेश इसी वीक रिपोर्ट आई है. इसके वर्किंग ग्रुप बने हैं, और इसका आप you all of you being from a very prestigious national institution, I just want to bring this message home. ये जब रिपोर्ट निकलती है इंटरगवर्नमेंटल पैनल ऑन क्लाइमेट चेंज की, इस तरह का कुछ इसका साइंटिफिक बेस होता है. इट ड्रॉज फ्रॉम 34,000 स्टडीज, दिस रिपोर्ट which came this week, 270 authors and 67 countries. And to just give you in just what it says risks will escalate quickly with higher temperature, often causing irreversible impacts of climate change. And also want to give you a reason for all of us to take pride in. India, as far as climate change is concerned, is a front runner. If you look at this picture on the left side, though, this is the news report of last year, but this year also the situation is same. India is among the top 10 performers as far as climate change is concerned. This is a global, they look at the ranking of the countries which contribute, say, about 90% of greenhouse gases, and that's how they then rank the countries. And India's position is 10th at the moment. And what you read here, after the Paris Accord, in 2016, India came up with its NDC. It's called Nationally Determined Contributions in short. That this is the target, this is the pledge that we take. We are being very transparent in front of the world. This is mandatory for all the countries to do that. So India came up with its NDCs. And if you read these, I can share that I literally had goosebumps when I read those for the first time. Goosebumps because the way our visionaries think, the way, the order in which these NDCs have been written. They started with a shloka. The document on NDCs, when it came, it started with this shloka that I have reproduced here, which meant that sky is peaceful, Brahaspati, the whole plantation around is peaceful, earth is peaceful, and you are in peace in one with all of these, and you are peace yourself. Which we all knew. In the morning, just now before coming here, I was talking to Dr. Parekh, and he mentioned about his mother and grandmother who had in their, ताना बाना जैसे कहते हैं ना, वो कपड़ा बुना होता है तो उसके अंदर एक धागा बुना होता है ताने बाने में, उसको अलग तो नहीं कर सकते हो. So Indians का तो वो है, that it's in our ताना बाना, that we know in our traditions, in our DNA, के natural way से in sync with surroundings कैसे रहना है. So this is our first NDC also, which says, the leaders in the country thought, let's build up on the strength that we have. And the first NDC says to put forward and further propagate a healthy and sustainable way of healthy living based on tradition and value of conservation and moderation. Let's play on our strength. Let's remind each one of us that this is what is part of our DNA. Let's propagate. Let's follow this. And then goes on the other NDCs, which are quantifiable as well. For example, if you look at the third NDC, it says, we will reduce emission intensity of our GDP by 33 to 35% by 2030 as compared to what it was in 2005. And we will ensure that 40% of our total electric installed capacity is met out of renewable sources. Similarly, there is another quantifiable target that says that we will generate additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent through afforestation. So primarily just wanted you to absorb the targets that India gave. And then very recently when COP26 happened in Glasgow, as I said, UNEP's report says the heat is on. It says if we go the way the targets we've given, we will reach at 2.7 degrees. Again, as I said, India's front runner, the Prime Minister there and then in Glasgow gave, hiked up the NDCs, the targets that we've given. Instead of 33 to 35% target, he said we will reduce our emission intensity of GDP by 45% by 2030. Large, bigger target we have in front of us. And also he said, we will ensure that we will have 50% of our installed electric capacity coming out of non-fossil fuel based sources, which amounts to 500 gigawatt, little typo error here, by 2030. And the overarching statement that we will be net zero by 2070. And if you look at the reports then, which came after Glasgow's announcements, this is what it somehow boils down to. So by 2070, it means that the petrol that goes in our cars and buses and trucks, about 84% of that has to come from biofuels. The institute, which has a bioprocessing center, I think would resonate with this and would, I was just talking to Dr. Parekh, many other countries are keen, for example, Taiwan is keen to join hands on biofuels technology to work together, and NABI, IMTech, we all can shortly set up a meeting, and let's see what we can do towards that. Between 2040 to 2065, 97% of coal use reduction will have to be reduced. And by 2070, the cars that you have, about 24% of those will be electric vehicles. I'm sure perhaps yesterday or the day before, you would have read in the newspapers in Chandigarh. Now, if you go to buy booze, not only men, the girls also, if you go to buy booze, it will cost you more. Because they put a cess on electric vehicle cess on booze. You know? So because Chandigarh has already come up with its electric vehicles policy, Punjab is in the making. Taking you, since the institute is in Mohali, it's a jewel of Punjab, and I would say everybody needs to I would ask everybody to just absorb this and take pride in this, the way the country is going, the way state is going, and the way we all can contribute, the way we can at the institutional level come up with our own strategy to contribute towards this. So as a state, this is the response of Punjab to climate change. Our priority is mainstreaming climate change concerns in states' developmental planning, initiate adaptation and mitigation projects, and we've also set up a knowledge mission. And I host Punjab State Climate Change Knowledge Center in the State Council for Science and Technology. It's supported by DST Government of India, and we plan to set up climate nodes in the universities and institutions in Punjab in a phased manner, so that everybody is aligned to at least spreading knowledge, preparing the climate, the knowers of climate change, as I said, the change makers or the change agents. So we have a state level steering committee on climate change in Punjab, which is chaired by Chief Secretary. And in 2018, we launched a specific mission. It's called Mission Tandurust Punjab, which has all the government approach. It has 10 submissions, which has, again, like a thread woven into the, the overall Tana Bana of this whole mission. Climate change issues are woven in it. And also about 3 years back, the State Council, being the think tank of Punjab government for science, technology and innovation, we proposed that let's have a separate Directorate of Environment and Climate Change, and this also has been set up. At the moment, I'm supporting it with my own manpower as well, but it's coming up as an independent, complete directorate. India came up with its National Action Plan on Climate Change in 2014, in 2008, and Punjab came up with its State Action Plan in 2014. At the moment, after 2014 came the Paris Accord, after 2014 came the NDCs, the focus on SDGs. So we are revising the State Action Plan on Climate Change, coming up with the 2.0 version. The draft is already ready. So these are the key sectors which primarily the climate change affects: energy, health, agriculture, water, urban and rural development, forest and biodiversity. And some of the sectoral concerns, I'm sure all of you are aware. ये वो बुखार की तरह नहीं है कि अगर 99 की जगह 100 बुखार हो गया तो कोई ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला. अगर 0.2 डिग्री टेम्परेचर बढ़ गया, 0.5 डिग्री ग्लोबल टेम्परेचर बढ़ गया, तो वीट की जो प्रोडक्टिविटी इतनी घटेगी कि इंडिया की पूरी फूड सिक्योरिटी जो है वो जेपरडाइज हो जाएगी. As you know, Punjab is the major contributor of wheat and rice to the central pool. Our water table is declining. Our biodiversity is under threat. So as far as health is concerned, you've all seen COVID. तो ये सारे जो sectoral concerns हैं, I'll just quickly take you through briefly. And as I said, my idea is also for each one of you being in Punjab to be very well abreast of what is happening within the state. Energy sector में इस टाइम हम करीब 14% जो हमारी टोटल इलेक्ट्रिक इंस्टॉल्ड कैपेसिटी है वो रिन्यूएबल रिसोर्सेज से मीट कर रहे हैं, और हमारा टारगेट जो है वो 2030 तक 21% पे आ जाएंगे. सो दैट्स वेयर वी आर. आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर अवेयर, वर्ल्ड का जो लार्जेस्ट सिंगल रूफटॉप सोलर प्लांट है वो डेरा ब्यास में है. सो पंजाब में ऐसे भी कुछ बिल्कुल हटके चीजें पंजाब में हैं. जैसे पंजाब पहली स्टेट है जहाँ पे अगर आप ECBC नॉर्म्स हैं जो एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन की कंप्लाइंट बिल्डिंग्स हैं उसके लिए इंसेंटिव देती है, जैसे कि उनको प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स पे रिबेट है एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फॉर्थ. हेल्थ सेक्टर में पंजाब एक इंडिविजुअल अलग से जो अपना जो है एक्शन प्लान बना रहा है, डेडिकेटेड स्टेट एक्शन प्लान ऑन क्लाइमेट चेंज फॉर ह्यूमन हेल्थ. India as a country is also coming up with that as the national plan, and the states are following suit. And also life expectancy at birth and at the ages between 5 to 10 years in Punjab has been the highest among all states in India. Also regarding when I talk of say forest and biodiversity, I would like to share with all of you, हमारे पास 23 जिले हैं पंजाब में और 150 ब्लॉक्स हैं, 13,260 विलेजेस हैं. ये सब में इस टाइम, सिंस आई ऑल्सो हेड पंजाब बायोडाइवर्सिटी बोर्ड, टेक प्राइड इन शेयरिंग विद यू कि इस हर लोकल बॉडी के लेवल पे विलेज हर गांव में बायोडाइवर्सिटी मैनेजमेंट कमेटीज बना दी है. ये टारगेट हमने अभी लास्ट ईयर के एंड में ही कंप्लीट किया. और नॉट ओनली दैट, हर बायोडाइवर्सिटी मैनेजमेंट कमेटी ने एक पहला एक्शन भी ले लिया कि वहाँ की जो लोकल बायोडाइवर्सिटी वहाँ जो पाई जाती है जीव जंतु वो सबको डॉक्यूमेंट कर लिया, विच इज कॉल्ड पीपल्स बायोडाइवर्सिटी रजिस्टर. सो दैट ऑल्सो, सो दैट दे नो ये हमारी धरोहर है. आने वाले बच्चों को पता हो कि ये यहाँ विलेज में मिलता था, अब कम मिलता है. और एज सच यू नो एक्सेस एंड बेनिफिट शेयरिंग मैकेनिज्म इंडिया लागू कर रहा है, और पंजाब में भी हम इसको धीरे धीरे लाएंगे ताकि जहाँ से भी कोई, मान लो नीम के पत्ते किसी कंपनी ने इस्तेमाल किए तो उसकी एक सर्टेन स्मॉल परसेंटेज ऑफ बेनिफिट वो थ्रू स्टेट बायोडाइवर्सिटी बोर्ड वहाँ की लोकल बायोडाइवर्सिटी मैनेजमेंट कमेटी को जाए, ताकि आने वाले समय में ये ना हो कि नीम के पत्ते मिलने बंद हो जाए, वहाँ के पे उतने नीम के कुछ पेड़ और लग सके. सो ऐसा सा कुछ प्लान है. और पंजाब में जो इस टाइम 6.12% ज्योग्राफिकल एरिया अंडर ग्रीन कवर है. आप जानते हैं यहाँ चप्पा चप्पा इज अंडर द प्लो इन पंजाब. तो हमारे लिए, हमारे पास कोई वेस्ट लैंड नहीं है और फॉरेस्ट के लिए बहुत एरिया नहीं है. सो द स्टेट इज फॉलोइंग वेरी इनोवेटिव अप्रोचेस. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हमने गुरु नानक देव जी का 550th बर्थ एनिवर्सरी पीछे मनाया, तो हर विलेज में 550 पेड़ लगाए. इमोशनली हमने सबको ब्लैकमेल कर लिया कि 50 पेड़ लगाइए हर विलेज में. एंड आई वाज पार्ट ऑफ सच मीटिंग दैट इट वाज सो amazing to see कि वो corporate heads would come and they would be fighting among each other कि इतने विलेज तो हमें दे दो जहाँ पे हम पैसा लगाएंगे. बुलाइए आप NRIs को. they were more than willing. It was just an innovative approach that we follow, and many such more approaches. एक आई हरियाली करके ऐप है, आपको बूटे चाहिए आप फोन करिए, 5 बूटे घर पहुंचा देंगे आपके. कि हमारे पास ठीक है जगह नहीं है इतनी कि आप अलग से बहुत सा जंगलात हम लगा पाए, बट मेनी इनोवेटिव वेज पंजाब इज गोइंग फॉरवर्ड. 1000+ करोड़ ईयर मार्क किया है फॉरेस्ट कवर बढ़ाने के लिए नेक्स्ट 5 years में. एग्रीकल्चर एंड अलाइड सेक्टर, फॉर पंजाब इज मोबिलाइजिंग फंडिंग अंडर नेशनल एडेप्टेशन फंड ऑन क्लाइमेट चेंज. कई प्रोजेक्ट्स इसके तहत आए हैं. डाइवर्सिफिकेशन बहुत इस टाइम एक मेजर, बिकॉज एज आई सेड वाटर टेबल काफी डाउन जा रहा है, तो पैडी के कारण ये भी बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है. एंड डाइवर्सिफिकेशन एक बहुत बड़ा इस टाइम पंजाब का प्रायोरिटी है. और अभी मैं डॉक्टर पारिक से बात कर रही थी, पैडी स्ट्रॉ बर्निंग, यू ऑल ऑफ यू नो, इज अ मेजर चैलेंज अगेन ऑफ पंजाब. तो माय ओन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, आई हैव अ सेपरेट टेक्नोलॉजी फैसिलिटेशन डिवीजन, फर्स्ट ऑफ देयर काइंड टू पैडी स्ट्रॉ ब्रिकेटिंग प्लांट्स पंजाब में लगे हैं. एंड I learn torrefaction mein NABI has also taken some lead, some work has been done, and I have a team which has has a deep knowledge on this subject, because as I said, they are the first of their kind. पैडी स्ट्रॉ एक ऐसा मटेरियल है, किसी और एग्री बायोमास से ब्रिकेट बनाना कोई मुश्किल बात नहीं है, बट इट्स रिच इन सिलिका. तो वो जो भी मशीन लगाएंगे वो घिस घुस के शाम तक उसके ब्लेड घिस के इधर गए उधर गए, तो वो पॉसिबल ही नहीं था, यू नो. सो लॉट ऑफ मेटलर्जी हैज गॉन इनटू दैट, लॉट ऑफ प्रोसेस मॉडिफिकेशंस हैव गॉन इनटू दैट, एंड इट हैज माइंड यू इट हैज हैपेंड इन विद प्राइवेट सेक्टर पार्टिसिपेशन, यू नो. कुछ मनी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने लगाया, रेस्ट केम फ्रॉम प्राइवेट सेक्टर. And the government has also come up with policy. अब जो industry ये briquettes को use करेगी उनके लिए incentivization है. So it's a very well planned, you know, strategy level initiatives happening as far as combating climate change is concerned. ये urban and rural development में one or two things I just wish to share with you. We have स्टेट एक्शन प्लान ऑन क्लीन एयर. हमारे पास 9 ऐसे सिटीज हैं पंजाब में जिनको नॉन अटेनमेंट सिटीज कहते हैं, जिसमें पोल्यूशन लेवल बिकॉज ऑफ लॉट ऑफ इंडस्ट्रीज ज्यादा है. तो उनमें उनके प्रॉपर एक्शन प्लान बने हैं और एवरी मंथ उसका फॉलो अप होता है. एंड आई ऑल्सो टेक प्राइड इन शेयरिंग first hand. I have driven this initiative of providing technological support to industry to lower their greenhouse gas emissions through technologies. You know, पिछले 3 सालों में 1600 MSME ने इन टेक्नोलॉजीज को अडॉप्ट किया और ये 3 लाख टन पर एनम की GHG पर एनम वो कम हो रही हैं because of these technologies. Water resources, the vulnerability studies have been carried out at district level. And जहाँ especially women, जहाँ water rain-fed area भी है हमारे पास शिवालिक foothills में, और जो vulnerable areas हैं वहाँ पे special initiatives started. For example, एक initiative है rural innovation and application center and a bioprocessing facility set up in शिवालिक foothill area of Punjab. वहाँ पे series of tech interventions we keep introducing, and it's a huge success story. किसी टाइम आपने देखना हो कि lab to land जिसको कहते हैं कि क्या सचमुच लाइफ पे असर हुआ टेक्नोलॉजीज का. डू विजिट दैट प्लेस तलवाड़ा, इट्स इन होशियारपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट. कोई 2 लाख मैन डेज की इस टाइम ये एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट हो रही है बिकॉज ऑफ दी सिंपल टेक्नोलॉजीज. नेचुरल विनेगर प्रोडक्शन की टेक्नोलॉजी PAU ने बनाई, 20 लीटर की टेक्नोलॉजी थी. इस टाइम इस सेंटर में वो अपस्केल टू अ लेवल, वो 1 लाख लीटर्स के बैच में, और उसको कंटिन्यूस भी अप कर लिया. तो एंड इट्स एशियाज लार्जेस्ट फैसिलिटी, इंडियाज लार्जेस्ट फैसिलिटी फॉर दैट. मैं भी जोश में एशिया पे पहुंच गई. इंडियाज लार्जेस्ट फैसिलिटी. सो एज फार एज नेचुरल विनेगर प्रोडक्शन इज कंसर्न, एंड इट्स ऑल विमेन सेंट्रिक फैसिलिटी. एंड एक आपकी भी CIAB, I saw Dr. Sudesh, he is coming up with a technology. हिल लेमन गलगल जो होता है वो वहाँ बहुत होता है. Dr. Sudesh is developing a technology for pectin production from hill lemon. I'm hopeful he'll be setting a pilot plant there. Again, ऐसी settings में वो पहला plant होगा. ये कुछ figures, Dr. Monica ने भी कहा कि पढ़ाई में कमी नहीं है जहाँ तक women की बात है. Climate change से मैं साथ I just want to, as I said, my intention was also that let me talk to my fellow women here, girls and women here on this aspect. ये भी मैं कुछ आपसे ये figures share करूं. My team has culled out these figures कि ये status है. पढ़ाई में बहुत बढ़िया हम, एग्रीकल्चर में आप परसेंटेजेस देख सकते हो, प्रिटी रीजनेबली गुड। MSc मास्टर्स ऑफ साइंस में 59 अबाउट 60% जो है बच्चे स्टेम में, और IITs में मगर काफी कम है। सिर्फ मंडी, IIT मंडी में 14% है विमेन, बाकी तो काफी कम आप देख रहे हो इधर। ये एक थोड़ा डिस्टर्बिंग है ट्रेंड। अगर आप कंट्रीज को कंपेयर करके देखते हो तो on the left hand side, the lower left hand side, if you see, India is far ahead as far as share of female graduates in STEM is concerned. 42%, US का 33 है, Germany का 27 है, and so on and so forth. We are pretty well placed, well ahead. मगर right side पे employability देखो, टोटल उसमें स्टेम जो विमेन है वो सिर्फ 14% रह जाती है, विच इज वेरी वेरी लेस। और ये कि बड़ी मुझे स्लाइड बढ़िया लगी, फोकस ऑन द 3 फॉर एग्जांपल 33% जो इट्स अ स्टडी कैरिड आउट इन US, UK का डाटा है ज्यादातर इसमें लिया उन्होंने, जो 33% उनको ज्यादा पगार मिल रही है, जो स्टेम बेस वाली विमेन है जो जा रही हैं इन द जॉब्स। और जो फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इंडस्ट्रीज हैं उनको 80% ऐसी कंपनीज को वो विमेन चाहिए जो जिनका स्टेम बेस है, और 75% जो ऑफ नॉन स्टेम जॉब्स जो है उनको भी बेसिक तो स्टेम 10वीं तक तो पढ़ी हो ऐसा उनकी ख्वाहिश है, ऐसी डिमांड निकल के आ रही है इंडस्ट्री की। तो बेसिकली हैविंग सेड ऑल दैट, I didn't think that I'll share this here at this platform, but I generally speak whatever comes to my mind. So it's coming to my mind, so I'm sharing this with you, a very, very personal incident, I lost my husband in 2010, and just before he passed away, a few days before that, we had bought a car. और उसकी RC लेनी होती है ना गाड़ी की, वो रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट लेने जाते हैं, तो उसकी कोई डेट मिली हुई थी इमिडिएटली से 4-6 दिन बाद की, एंड आई थॉट आई विल कंटिन्यू विद दैट डेट, उसको पोस्टपोन नहीं करेंगे। और मेरे पास एक ड्राइवर है वो जो काफी ये he is expert in that, वो कोई आपने लाइसेंस कराना है कुछ कराना है, so he goes वो करा देता है, सबके साथ ही वो जाता है हमारे ऑफिस में। एंड ही रीच्ड देयर एंड देन आई रीच्ड देयर, एंड वो लाइन में लगना था, एंड आई जस्ट स्टूड देयर। और एंड दिस आई एम टॉकिंग ऑफ मी, who had done PhD and who has been heading an organization and so on and so forth. और वो कुछ सवाल पूछ रहे थे, और वो सवाल बड़े सिंपल से सवाल थे, बट सिंस आई हैड गॉन थ्रू दैट ट्रॉमा, माय आईज वर टोटल ग्राउंड पे फिक्स्ड, आई कुडंट सी अप। एंड उसने कुछ पूछा और मुझे लगा कि आई लुक्ड एट द ड्राइवर कि इससे पूछ लो, एंड इन अ स्प्लिट सेकेंड दिस अवेयरनेस केम टू मी कि मुझे ये बात, ये जो थॉट है इसलिए नहीं आई कि इससे पूछ लो क्योंकि ये इस फील्ड में माहिर है, मुझे इसलिए आई है कि ये मेल फिगर है, और मुझे लगा कि ये मेल खड़ा है मेरे साथ तो इसको पूछो, इसको पता, मुझे कुछ नहीं पता। एंड इट वाज एज सिंपल अ सब्जेक्ट एज गेटिंग एन RC इशू, एंड दिस केम इन अ स्प्लिट सेकेंड एंड इट वेंट अवे, एंड आई थॉट, I mean, I was amazed at myself, at my own psyche, and this has not come overnight. This has been handed down to us through generations, मेरे अपने घर में बहुत, मेरी माँ की इच्छा थी कि पढ़ाया जाए, इतना पढ़ाया जाए, मगर वही माँ थी, मेरे भाई का बर्थडे होता था, वो कड़ा प्रसाद बना देती थी और लड़कियों पे नहीं बनाती थी। सो तो ये जो साइकी है ये एक दिन में नहीं आई है, एंड दैट आई रियलाइज वेरी हार्ड विद दैट, एंड विद इन अ स्प्लिट सेकंड आई हैड माय स्पाइन स्ट्रेट, माय गर्दन स्ट्रेट, एंड आई आंसर्ड टू दैट लेडी। आई थॉट ये मतलब लानत है, मैं जाके विमेंस डे पे भाषण देती हूँ, और मैं ये थॉट आई मुझे कि एंड माइंड यू, ऐसे काम मेरे हस्बैंड ने कभी नहीं कराए थे, ये सारे जो काम थे वो मैं अपने आप ही शुरू से करती थी, you know, and yet this thought crossed my mind. I felt disempowered. I felt, okay, I don't have man, so I'm disempowered. So all I want to, you know, I don't know if it's in last slide. Let me just see. Yeah, it's the last slide. So all I want you all to leave with is a message that, you know, ये तीन जो pictures आप देख रहे हो इस slide में, Janki Ammal, I'm sure you made this poster, you put her picture there, the first botanist from India. Not only that, you know, she contributed immensely towards food security of India. जो उन्होंने sugarcane varieties बनाई, उस time India import करता था वो varieties जो sweeter होती थी. So she gave that contribution. Just look at your unique talents. वो you know, और इतने आप research papers लिखते हो, कागज पेन पकड़ के just write down every now and then what are your own unique talents, you know, and just being you know. ये जो आप देख रहे हो इसकी ग्रेटा थनबर्ग की जो फोटो, ऑटिस्टिक है ये लड़की, और यू नो इसको एस्पर्जर सिंड्रोम है, और ये कहती है कि मैं म्यूटिज्म अपने उसको कंडीशन को ये बोलती है कि मतलब मैं तभी बोलती हूँ जब बोलने की बहुत जरूरत होती है, यू नो. सो शी हैज दैट डिसऑर्डर, बट देन शी सेड मुझे इतनी जरूरत लग रही थी कि अब ये इतने बड़े बड़े लीडर खड़े इकट्ठे होके भाषण देते हैं और क्लाइमेट एक्शन के बारे में कर कुछ नहीं रहे, मतलब दे आर नॉट वॉकिंग द टॉक, बातें हर फोरम पे हो रही हैं, कर कुछ नहीं रहे. तो शी सेड आई कुडंट स्टॉप माई सेल्फ. वही जो मैंने शुरू में कहा कि थोड़ा गले के अंदर उतारी जाए ये बात. उसने अपने पेरेंट्स के बड़ी जबरदस्ती गले उतारी, इतनी उतारी कि उसकी मदर जो एक ओपरा सिंगर है, उसने अपना करियर ही छोड़ा क्योंकि वो उसको फ्लाइट्स लेके इधर उधर जाना पड़ता था सिंगिंग के लिए. उसने कहा आपने फ्लाइट्स ही नहीं लेनी है क्योंकि बाकी तो किसी को असर ही नहीं हो रहा कि इतना फ्लाइट्स के ऊपर हम यू नो वी आर GHG से किस तरह कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं इन द एनवायरनमेंट. सो शी फर्स्ट प्लेड दैट कार्ड एट हर इन हर होम एंड देन शी सैट एंड सो जस्ट बीइंग हरसेल्फ, इवन an autistic, you know, knowing that condition and the enthusiasm, you know. मुझे याद है यहाँ पे इसी हॉल में हमने करा, डॉक्टर पारेख, हमने एक सिंपोजियम किया था. एक हमने एक सीरीज शुरू करी हुई है गुरु हरगोविंद खुराना सीरीज. Actually I'm a Satarni, so that comes very, and by the way, you know what does Kaur mean? You know, Kaur means the crowning princess in the name that I have, Jatinder Kaur Arora. So Kaur is, you know, that it means that, you know, क्या अब तो वही princess, you know. तो हरगोविंद खुराना सीरीज हमने शुरू करी है इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ नैनो साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी और हमने स्टेट काउंसिल ने मिलके. तो when the Khurana, one of the Khurana associate read about it in paper, so he approached me, all the way came to me कि बहुत से लोग यहाँ आना चाहते हैं. 25-30 Khurana associates came here. We had it in this auditorium. I remember one of them shared their memories with Professor Khurana. One of them, David Jones, he had written, he didn't come, उन्होंने वो लिख के भेजी. उन्होंने कहा मैं तो केमिस्ट था और मैं प्रोफेसर खुराना की लैब में, आई लैंडेड अप देयर एंड ही वांटेड मी टू वर्क ऑन मॉलिक्यूलर बायोलॉजी. और मैंने बोला कि बहुत घबरा गया एंड एंग्शियस था. उन्होंने कहा डेविड, ऑल आई नीड फ्रॉम यू इज एंथुसियाज्म. So boys and girls, all I need, men and women, all I need from you is enthusiasm, especially the girls and women. ये जो मैंने बोला ये बिल्कुल भाषण नहीं था क्लाइमेट चेंज का. I really feel it. Every word I said, mean it from heart, and I want all of you to feel it that way. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you very much. Please on kar dijiye. Thank you very much, madam, for sharing your words of wisdom. I think, as you said, this is not a speech. It came out from your heart, and I could actually feel it sitting close to you that you explain it so well in terms of global environment, climate change, your experience with NABI, your experience with the state, and your own experience in your life. Thank you very much. And we would like to thank you once again on behalf of NABI and SIA for sparing us time. And the floor is open for question, any suggestion, and if my friend would like to ask any question. Any comment from anyone, those who are online? And before I forget, for this video which I just shared, I would like to put on record my sincere thanks to Professor Neera Bhalla Sareen, whom you could see on the video also. Thank you very much, madam, for giving me an opportunity to share this video, which is not yet released as today. So now the floor is open for any question, any comment, any suggestion before we embark on the next wonderful speaker with us on the dais today.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello. First of all, I must really congratulate Dr. Kaur, the princess, who stole the show today. The lecture was really very inspiring, and so many figures and things she had all on her tips, which is really amazing. And the kind of schemes, etc., which are being put forward to benefit everybody. I mean, I really appreciate that. And what I wanted to give a suggestion was that most of the celebrations, you know, like you celebrated Guru Nanak's 550th birthday by encouraging people. So maybe similarly, the Women's Day, etc., could also be celebrated in a similar manner, so that, you know, we could have more greenery around, and this could benefit people. But I really enjoyed your talk, and thank you for that.
Thank you, Neera ji.
Thank you, Professor Neera, for being with us and supporting our program. You have been so kind that you are participating in NABI's program. Thank you very much. Any other comment from any other student before we invite the next speaker? Okay, thank you very much. So we move on to our next agenda. Indeed, it's a pleasure to have introduced to you Dr. Vibha Ahuja, who is Chief General Manager, Biotech Consortium India Limited. And it so happened that she was visiting us, and I requested her, as I mentioned in the morning, and she has kindly agreed to grace the occasion. Thank you very much once again. To introduce Dr. Vibha Ahuja, she has been closely associated with the research program, specifically associated with the biofortification of banana, as I understand. So she knows about NABI's research program, the scientists working over here. Dr. Vibha Ahuja holds MSc Honors and PhD degree in microbiology from Punjab University, Chandigarh. So she's not a new person over here. She has been inhabitant of this wonderful state. She is presently serving as the Chief General Manager at the Biotech Consortium India Limited, which in short we call it BCIL, very, very popular name to my friends and colleagues who are dealing with science across the world. Dr. Ahuja has been working with BCIL since 1993 and has more than 30 years of experience in undertaking projects for biotechnology, commercialization, and on personal behalf, I really appreciate the way she is helping us in commercializing and having a field trial for the biofortified golden banana, which we have generated at NABI. Dr. Ahuja has led implementation of projects for technology validation, facilitation of technology transfer. She's an expert in that. Regulatory aspect, and I have no hesitation in saying that she's one of the best to understand and explain the regulatory aspect as far as GM technology and many technologies are concerned. Entrepreneurship, human resource development, etc., etc. She has been dealing with projects connected to biosafety, regulatory aspect, particularly with reference to genetically modified organisms, biodiversity conservation, and environmental industrial biotechnology. She has also coordinated capacity building activities in the area of modern biotechnology, imparted training through seminars, workshops, national and international training program, and prepared well-researched publications for various stakeholders related to biosafety issues. She is widely traveled and has taken up projects in South Asian countries and Africa. And in the morning when she was having tea with us, we shared a lot of interesting gossip. And I'm quite amazed the way she handles the science, and she understands the biosafety regulation, and she knows how to deal with people, how to deal with bureaucracy. And hats off to you, madam. And I would like to invite you to the stage now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for inviting me on this special day, and greetings to all on this International Women's Day. After such a fascinating, personal experience and a talk by Madam, my very old friend, Dr. Arora, I was actually down the memory lane that, how we started our careers and, the kind of challenges that we faced, and maybe, could share some of our experiences and motivate you. So, the topic that I chose to speak to all of you is, as Madam said, whether it is climate change or dealing with various problems, कुछ भी तकलीफ है तो हमें अच्छी technologies चाहिए. Technology interventions can only help, to deal with many of our day-to-day problems in all spheres of lives, whether, it is like food security, nutritional security, climate change, and, so many other things. So that's why I thought I will speak to you about translating technologies from lab to the society. And this is one subject which always fascinated me right from the time that I was in research. I am a student from Chandigarh, the Punjab University, Chandigarh. So this city is where I was brought up and is very dear to me. Right way back in 1987, when I completed, this was one subject which fascinated me so much that as soon as I got an opportunity to work on a project with the paper industry, and that was something which was like a breaking point for me, that I am going to do something in the public-private partnerships, which was unheard at that time. There were a lot of challenges, but then interacting with the technology managers, interacting with the technicians there, like Madam said, briquette technology, छोटी सी बात, machines कैसे वो होती है, हम lab में तो कुछ करते हैं, but वो ultimately field में जैसे जाके कैसे काम करेगा और उसके बीच में क्या challenges है, that is something we should all think about. And this motivated me at that stage itself to take patent and not go for publications, which was very different. Everybody thought PhD kar rahe, publications karo, lecturer ki naukri karo. But that is something you all, should try to think differently if you want ki hum jo lab mein kar rahe hain, wo logon tak kaise pahunche. And that is what, and then fortunately I got an opportunity to work in an organization, Biotech Consortium India Limited, which works on this front, taking forward technologies from laboratory to the land and dealing with all different aspects. Sir mentioned about genetically engineered technology. This is one technology, modern biotechnology is very dear to me. And I have been working in this area, trying to, reach out to all kind of activities, whether it is policy issues, consultations, and so on. And I just want to tell you all that there is something beyond lab, and that is something which needs to be exploited, not just by, by all researchers, men, women, everything, and ladies can really do a good job, as we can see, path-breaking technologies and path-breaking ventures being set up by women, and it is in this front only, as sir mentioned, we are here. I was here this morning working on the banana biofortification project to see how this product we can take to the market, to the market. That's our dream, that it should be available in the supermarkets for people to, have this and to deal with all this nutritional security issues, which Madam was mentioning. And so much of initiatives are being taken under things like Poshan Abhiyan. What I'll do, I'll very quickly take you through these slides because it's already very late and I don't want everyone to stay back for long. So we really have a lot of advantage in the biotechnology sector here in India. There is rich biodiversity, Madam mentioned, government policy support is there, and we really need to now work. जो भी हम research कर रहे हैं, हम कैसे इसको आगे लेके जाएं, वो हमें पूरा करना है. बहुत support है available, but उसके लिए थोड़ी सी सोच अलग करनी पड़ेगी. अपने innovative ideas को new thoughtfully planned ventures की तरफ लेके जाना है. Need for expanding the perspective, our own perspective, and take this entrepreneurial journey. This is the perfect time. बहुत support है, मैं जैसे आपको बताऊंगी. Be job creators instead of job seekers. We keep saying नौकरी नहीं है, but we can, I'll give you the examples जहाँ पे लोग enterprises set up करके ना कि खुद उससे फायदा हो रहा है उनको, but वो और लोगों को भी बहुत फायदा पहुंचा रहे हैं. So that's the mantra now. Be the job creators and not the job seekers. And that's where I want to motivate all of you to move forward. Look at the, think of various ideas, look at their commercial feasibility, regulatory compliance, and then move on and achieve the flight for the product commercialization. This is the startup boom in India, rise of the India as a startup nation, and it is also a lot of these policies. I can share many more if any of you contacts us on what kind of initiatives are there by the government, Make in India, Startup India, Stand Up India, and all these are not just words and catchy. हम तो कई बार सोचते हैं ये तो सब नारे हैं, नारे नहीं है, इनके अंदर बहुत कुछ है जो बहुत सारे लोगों को फायदा भी हो रहा है और लोग फायदा उठा रहे हैं. हम चाहते हैं कि इधर भी इस तरह का बूम आना चाहिए. Our own biotechnology department has set up BIRAC and biotech, what is that? Startup strategy and so on. So Indian economy is really now, it has the potential to become India's third largest economy. And now we have to see how can India's growth story be your growth story also. That is where we all have to work. 10,000 करोड़ रुपए का कॉर्पस फंड है जो मार्च 25 तक स्टार्टअप्स को मिलेगा and sub areas में Invest India, so many organizations are there from where you can tap and move on to have set up. In the area of biotechnology itself, about 2,000 companies have been formed, and these are all startups. Of course, many are in the pharma sector, but there are other sectors also where there's a lot of work going on. Very quickly to take you here, right from the idea that you think your innovation to the proof of concept up to commercialization, her stage पर बहुत सारी agencies are sitting there with lot of schemes to support you. The only thing is आपको इस challenge को tap करना है और आगे बढ़ना है. So there are a lot of fellowship programs. There are 1 or 2 which are managed by us. Then you can see this, innovation fellowships, this, that. Move on and make use of them to take your, take your technologies forward or collaborate with people and go on to make use of this. I'll just take you through some of the case studies क्योंकि सिर्फ बातें नहीं है, हमारे पास तो बहुत case studies हैं, लेकिन फिर भी मैंने 3-4 आप लोगों के लिए जो आपके थोड़े projects के साथ, look at this enzymes, he's MSc and PhD in structural biology and he has moved on to set up this company. Then there are a lot of incubators. This is a company housed in CCAM. This is the team, Shri Kumar, Surya Narayan, Soumya, all these people, they have come together and set up this company. And they're doing very well for algal products. Look at this, Eka Biochemicals in Kerala. She's a BTech and MSc in management, first fully woman-owned biotech company in Kerala. So this is where, it is not कि हम किसी से पीछे हैं, this is one time जबकि बहुत support systems available हैं जो कि इनको हम use कर सकते हैं. Then we have, Dr. Kavita Sairam. She has set up this unit in Chennai and she is doing very well. Dr. Archana Thakur in Goa. So I specifically picked up these names, just to prompt you कि ये भी area कोई male dominated नहीं है. There are women who are coming forward and setting up these units. Sorry. So then, this is another thing, we did some entrepreneurship development programs. हम हमेशा कहते हैं कि North East में थोड़ा पीछे हैं, लेकिन North East में हमने एक entrepreneurship development program किया, and I'm very proudly saying कि वो program जो था वो सिर्फ ये नहीं था कि lecture देके हमने भेज दिया, हमने उनको actual units के अंदर भी training दी. And look at these people who are very young, 25 years old, Abhijit, who has set up this unit, then Supritam, all these people are like you, आपके जैसे ही ये लोग हैं जिन्होंने आगे बढ़ के थोड़ा अलग सोचा और बहुत अच्छे units सब लगा के बैठे हैं. And any of you wants to get in touch with them and understand, that is also possible. So this list just goes on. And I would just like to conclude here, all of you, thank you for hearing me, but just want to say that researchers and students are in a very unique position, particularly today, to excel. एक तो आप लोग isolated होते हो industry के, एक पहले से कोई baggage नहीं है, so you are starting new. So learn to take risks, and this is the best time to take up high risk ventures and startup dreams. Follow your startup dreams. But what is the prerequisite for taking forward and building a company? सबसे पहले passion, perseverance, desire to learn and improve the market positioning. So if you take these 4 positions as your mantra, you can really move on and take the word forward. And that's all I want to share with you, and very quickly. So thank you so much. And once again, greetings for the International Women's Day, and thank you for inviting me here. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Dr. Ahuja, for sharing your words of wisdom. We are actually aware of the contribution of BCIL and also your personal contribution as a dedicated individual in promoting science and commercialization. And I'm aware that your contribution is helping not only NABI, but many other people, many other institutes like us who are dreaming of commercializing their product. I think we call it lab to land. So if you want to move from lab to land, this is BCIL, and here is Dr. Ahuja, who is the best person to ask any questions. So I would like to open the floor for any question in case anybody would like to have any question regarding the startups or BCIL contribution. This is the platform, and I'm sure she'll be very happy to answer the question. Any student would like to ask any question regarding funding, regarding startups? Or maybe they would like to get in touch with you later. Perhaps this is the end of the day, perhaps. But thank you very much, both the dignitaries, wonderful ladies who are sitting on the dais, for making this event this evening wonderful to us, very beautiful. And I now hand over the stage to Dr. Monica.
So next is 5-minute presentation by the NABI and CAFD women scientists. First one is mine, I guess. So can you please? So my group is mainly working on colored wheat. You all know that. So it is rich in anthocyanins, which act as antioxidants. So it has been approved by FSSAI as antioxidant rich wheat. So we have filed PVPFRA application already registered with the NBPGR, and patent has also been filed. So we had been in media, we all have listened about that. And that attracts more is negative news. So it has been widely circulated in the hostel or within the NABI. And I don't take any bad feelings about this, because positives and negatives go together. If we cannot digest our negatives, we cannot keep our positives, right? So if your thing is good, your product is good, you will come up again. So that's what we are coming up. There are 498 good news and only 2 bad news. So it means that there is something good in it. And we have already signed with MOU or NDA with 28 companies, and they are already working in this field. So apart from the black wheat, we are also working on, and like biofortification is our target. So we are working on iron, zinc, then protein, fructans, fermentable oligosaccharide, monosaccharides, and polysaccharides. Then vitamin A derivatives like lutein, which is also a type of provitamin A. It's not directly provitamin A, but it is also good for eye health. So we are working on vitamin E, tocopherols, and tocotrienols, and functional characterization as well as basic biology. Thank you. So after this, I would like to invite Dr. Jayata Bhumik, please.
Good evening all. Happy Women's Day to all of you. And I thank Professor Parikh to conceptualize the idea of celebrating Women's Day. And I thank Aurora ma'am for her enlightening talk. And thanks to Ahuja ma'am for regarding the startup. We'll definitely get in touch with you. I just had a crazy idea. I'll start my slides from the back. And because of the paucity of time. So I start my today's talk with acknowledging everyone in our lives, especially women's life. So my family members, and I think what I'm going to say today, that's I'm echoing not only female, also male. So we do acknowledge all the family members, the students, the friends we have in our lives, the colleagues, household health, how can we forget about them? And both male and female, let's have a round of applause for everyone in our lives. So it's Women's Day, but we have all the wonderful male colleagues who are here, who are supporting us. We sometimes do fight, but that to strengthen us. Thank you all. Thank you so much. So going backwards, as I decided, my lab at CIAB, I don't like to say my lab, our lab, I always like we, us. So our lab at CIB is working on developing multiple technologies based on Lignin is a part of agri-biomass that has been used for the development of hydrogels, coating, additives, and also has been used for developing COVID therapeutics. Also, we have developed chemicals, platform chemicals from lignin, and antiviral coating, as I mentioned. So these many technologies have been patented, and thank you so much again, Huja ma'am, for coming up with the startup ideas. We'll definitely go in touch with you because we have a bioincubator for NABI and SIAP together, and definitely it will be a big help. So thanks to the Women's Day celebration. Again, backwards, the publications, yes, patents are important, but publications help us getting recognized in the international platform, not only us as a group, but for the students, for the institution, for the country. So we are very proud of our publications. So thanks to all the contributors from my group, from SIAB, and all the administration and everyone. Thank you so much. This is the 5.5 years of work at CIB. Again, backwards. So going back, so lignin. It's a polyphenol, it's a wonder molecule. It has antimicrobial, antiviral activities. It has also adhesive properties. It has adsorbent properties. More we look into this material, we get really astounded, and it's nothing but it is thrown in the field. It is burnt with other agribiomass. So this is a wonder molecule that we discovered again, not I. We discovered when we joined CIB, and thank you so much for CIB for that. Going back, so how do I came up to, we come to the lignin. So during my PhD, we worked with porphyrins, which are natural pigments, which have been working since 2 decades now. It's present in chlorophyll and also in heme in our blood. Nanomaterials, we all know of nanomaterials. It's a cargo, it's a vehicle. You can put bunch of molecules on it and you can go forward. Then nanobodies, which is nano plus antibodies, and photosensitizers, nanophotosensitizers we have worked on. And last but not the least, lignin, we have been working on for past 6 years. My role models, my heroes must start with all the women in my life. My mom, my grandma, she studied till I think 8th standard, but her knowledge is nothing what I have still today's date. My cousin in US, she completed her PhD in 80s. My school teacher was PhD back then. Of course, not only women in our lives, the male teachers. I have their photos in my office. I should put their photos as well. My PhD advisor, my postdoctoral advisors, and also my recent advisor from NIPER, and my affiliations, CIB, NIPER, Harvard, NC State University, Calcutta University, the cities I traveled. And that's all. And the first slide comes, journey of a female, iron-headed, those who know iron Fe, is iron, so iron-headed female scientist, that's me. And thank you so much. Happy Women's Day. So I now turn the mic to Dr. Meena Krishna Chaudhary, please.
Thank you, very nice presentation, ma'am. So I start with the shloka. Yatra naristityu pujyate ramante ta devataha, yatrastu na pujyate sarvatrafla kriyaha, which means where women are honored, divinity blossoms there, and where they are dishonored, all actions remain unfruitful. So we belongs to the country who having the faith, or who believes that कि स्त्री को पूजा जाए तभी we have to get everything in a positive manners in our life. So I, Dr. Meena Krishna from CIAB wishes you all International Women's Day. And these are my mentors of life, and apart my family, obviously family is my base, and without them we could not able to do anything. So in my master's, Professor S.P. Chaurasia always say, whenever I do research and I go with the data, he always say, research, search again and again. So I say, how much time I will going to do a research. I was not aware that my whole career will be a research in. So it was, I was not aware. Now I know that what values those words. The next is my PhD supervisor, and he always said me, think critically, think out of the box. And he always, whenever I go, you are thinking like a normal people, think which nobody can think. So I always kept in mind whenever I do research, how can I think so it can be resolved the problem which nobody can be able to resolve it. And the last, Professor Sonia Heaven, she is a professor in University of Southampton, and she basically chemical engineer, and in 2018, I supposed to I met her with her, and she was designing the reactors, and I have seen her all the designs, and I have seen with the teaching load she has done a brilliant science, and her science was being implemented as per in the industries also. So she having a very good design reactor of very big capacities. So here come to my research. This was the first project which has been granted by the DST, the chemoenzymatic process of kinnu juice industry waste for valuable products. So as we know that in Punjab, there is a fruit kinnu, which is a citrus fruit and hugely available over here in the northern region of the India. And presently it has been processed for the juice. So after processing for the juice, the leftover waste is a huge waste for the juices industry. And then how can we valorize them and can be converted into a value-added products? So we were seeing that there were multiple challenges, but the major challenge to be fortify this pomace into the food product or converted into a food product was a bitterness. So we have developed a two bitterness process, debittering processes. One is a chemical based, where we have tried multiple approaches, solvent, alkali, and dilute acid treatments, and then we analyze the solvent to genesis, was showing best results. And similarly, as we were moving towards, we want that the food should be chemical free, not should be added any solvent or chemical. So we have again started to get research about a new approach which can be a green sustainable approach. So we have used enzymes to convert the naringine into the naringenin by help of naringinase. So we again we have scale up also, and it's showing with the help of enzyme, it show around 81.45 purity of dietary fiber. So these can be incorporated into a multiple food products that can be used as a prebiotic. So we have developed a vermicelli with the incorporation of this. We have also developed Navita, which is a whey drink with the fibers, and this technology has been licensed also. The next area of my research is integrated process for valorization byproduct of starch industries. So basically, agar corn starch industries, if we see that, so it is basically produce two types of byproducts. One is a corn gluten meal, and the second one is corn flour. So corn fiber, sorry. These two byproducts itself rich with one of which corn fiber is rich in fiber and other is rich in protein. So these can be utilized in an efficient way, so we can reuse this byproduct into betterment which already having a very good quality. So we have developed the process and we have patented it, and it was being granted also. And this it's the product which we have made with it, it's by the integrated approach, and we have developed maltose, soluble fiber and insoluble fiber, and the soluble fibers are rich in xylo-oligosaccharides. It's also having a ferulic acid that's attached. So we have published number of papers, so I thought few of them can be explained here. Due to shortage of time, I'll go a little faster. So this is the leftover other byproduct of the cornstarch industry, that is the corn protein, corn gluten meal, and which is a part of corn protein only. So it having 80% of corn protein, and but the problem is that the protein which is present into it is not as a standard amino acid fashions. So we have developed a method to convert into a proper fashion of amino acid which is required for the human body, and then make a protein supplement. The next our technology is a potential cocoa butter substitute derived from the mango seed kernel. This is recently published in Food Chemistry, and no one has been reported as supplement of cocoa butter in the confectionery, specifically in the chocolates. If we able to replace this in our confectionery, in our chocolates, so we will able to reduce around 50% of the cost of the chocolates. So this is the as Jitendra ma'am said, the next problem in Punjab is a rice straw, which is relevant to the climate change. And so we also thought to try to make some valuable product from a rice straw, and we have isolated our own culture, and we have developed a xylitol out of it, which we can see in the picture that the crystal xylose were prepared from the rice straw. This is a sugar-free alcohol, which tastes like sugar, but it will not give you the calories. So few technologies I have explained, as we have patented 6 patents we have done in our lab. And I thanks to my students, female students especially, as today's our day, and funding agencies, and not the least in the end, I want to thank you, Professor Ashwini Parikh, CEO CIAB, for giving this opportunity. Thank you, and thank you all the dignitaries. Thank you.
A very good evening to all. My name is Hinadhar. I joined NABI in 2017 as DST Inspire faculty. I would like to take this opportunity to wish you all happy Women's Day. And this is indeed a pleasure for me to present my research in this special day. So here at NABI, I'm working on microbial production of omega-3 fatty acids. So omega-3 fatty acids are well-known long-chain fatty acids which have health beneficial properties. So these are associated with prevention and cure of certain diseases like cardiovascular diseases, then cancer, inflammatory diseases, and diabetes as well. So, but these omega-3 fatty acids, we Indians take in very less amount. The ratio of omega-3 fatty acid to omega-6 fatty acid should be 1:5, but we Indians consume it in the ratio of 1:30. So we should include such omega-3 fatty acids in our diet. These omega-3 fatty acids are generally found in plants as well as in marine sources. But plants could generate only ALA kind of omega-3 fatty acids that we consume and convert, our body convert it into EPA and DHA, which are associated with actual health benefits. But the conversion rate is too low that we have to consume it from our diet. So the major sources which are available are fish and fish oil, and also certain kind of marine algae that could produce DHA. These sources are associated with certain kind of limitations like their availability, sustainability, and contaminants like mercury and arsenic. So as Dr. Meena said, research is required in this area also to search for alternative approaches to produce such kind of omega-3 fatty acid that could be consumed by vegetarian also. So microbes could be utilized as those kind of sources. Microbes produce these omega-3 fatty acids as an adaptation strategy to survive in cold environments generally. So, our study includes the isolation of bacteria from high altitude lakes that have cold environment, and as well as certain kind of bacteria residing the gastrointestinal tract of fishes and certain kind of invertebrates. So we have utilized culture independent as well as culture independent as well as culture dependent studies to explore the bacteria that could produce omega-3 fatty acid. And we have found the genes which are responsible for such fatty acids in those kind of niches. And using culture dependent study, we have isolated around 1500 bacteria. From that, we only found 15 bacteria that could produce icosapentaenoic acid. But these bacteria were not able to produce DHA, because we have collected the samples from surface only, and DHA producing bacteria could be found in the deeper areas. So then we found that from these 15 isolates, only 4 were capable to produce a handsome amount of omega-3 fatty acids. Then we identified those bacteria, and those were identified as a Schwannella, the variety of species which comes under the genus Schwannella. So then after that, we optimizes the condition. So from the previously known fact, only a cold temperature and salt concentrations are responsible for the omega-3 fatty acid production. In the study, we have found that pH is also a very important aspect in the formation of omega-3 fatty acid by these bacteria. Further, we have also done genome mining studies to find a different kind of PUFA synthase gene cluster, which are responsible for the production of EP and DHA. Thereafter, we selected the bacteria that could produce a good amount of omega-3 fatty acid and performed the genome sequencing of that bacteria. And from that genome sequence, we identified a PUFA synthase gene cluster and characterized that PUFA gene cluster for its domain organization. After that, the genes were amplified and cloned into E. coli for the production of omega-3 fatty acids. This is the first step for the development of sustainable source of omega-3 fatty acids. Thank you. I would like to thank NABI for giving me opportunity to work here. And I would like to thank my team who is always present in the lab to do all the work, and my funding agency to give me the funds to proceed this research. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my wonderful colleagues from NABI and CIAB. I learned a lot from your presentation. Thank you very much, all who have come here and stayed with us for this program. I think, ma'am, it is clear that NABI and CIAB are working towards attaining not only food security, nutrition security, but also increasing the farmers' income, as we are planning with the doubling the farmers' income under Prime Minister program. And I want to ensure over here and put my commitment from NABI and CIAB that will work harder towards attaining our goal for NABI and CIAB is concerned. But definitely we will need support from both the organizations, both the women power sitting over here. We need to draw more power from both BCIL and Punjab State Council of Technology. And I hope you will have extended support to NABI and CIAB in this endeavor. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. So I now, yes, ma'am, please.
इसको ऑन करिए जरा. This is not working.
Also, state assembly councils is an entire network, pan-India network. So it will be the facility, I understand, it's really a pleasure working jointly to train specifically as scientists from Punjab and has made use of bioscience. And also, for a climate change node, perhaps we could have any durations program to begin with, maybe 1 week program, 10 days program, whichever way. We can work it out. That program can be designed in a way that enhances the knowledge, the capacity of all the researchers on the global vision, countries vision, as well as the states vision.
So time to felicitate the women leaders. So I will request Dr. Ashwini Parikh to present a memento to Dr. Jitendra Arora. Of course, a bouquet and shawl too. Miss Hema, can you please come? And floral thank you also. Sorry, I forgot earlier. Dr. Ibahuja, please.
We'll start with bouquet first.
Okay, that will be better. Memento. And shawl, Ms. Hema, please.
All of us can have a picture together. Use
Yes,
maybe all those speakers in here. They can also stand here.
All the speakers.
On behalf of all of you, it's not that you're not able to do that. On behalf of all of you, I'm inviting one. We want us to stand. If you can come on the other side, it look balanced. Two plus two.
मैंने डिसाइड किया हम सिर्फ गर्ल्स नहीं जाएंगे, बॉयज को भी ले ही जाएंगे साथ में टूर पे. Agreed? अच्छा, so I request Ms. Anu Kiran for vote of thanks, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As we come to the end of today's event, it is my great privilege to present vote of thanks on the occasion of International Women's Day. So now it is time to acknowledge each and everyone who have come together and put efforts to make this event successful. To begin with, we would like to extend our sincere thanks to Dr. Jitendra Arora for taking out time from her busy schedule and enlightening us with her lecture on climate change demands change makers. We acknowledge Dr. Vibha Ahuja for delivering excellent talk on translating technologies from lab to society. We are so thankful to you, ma'am. We are thankful to Professor Ashwini Parekh, ED NABI, CEO CIAB, for conceptualizing to celebrate this event. Thank you so much, sir, for always motivating us and extending your support. We would like to thank our speakers for today, Dr. Monica Garg and Dr. Hina Dhar from NABI, Dr. Jayata Bhaumik and Dr. Meena Krishnaya from CIAB. We are also thankful to our students, faculty members, staff, admin, finance, and ICT for their untired support for this event. Along with this, I would like to thank supporting staff for making all the necessary arrangements. In the end, I would like to thank each one of you who are attending this event from online or offline mode and making this event successful. Once again, I wish all the lovely ladies a happy Women's Day. We all truly rock. Thank you all.
Cup of tea before you, green tea.